Welcome to the Oilers TV live draft coverage as we wrap up the 2021 NHL Draft. There appears to be 3 picks remaining on the NHL board, with the Vegas Golden Knights selecting at 222 currently, then the Montreal Canadiens at 223, and the Tampa Bay Lightning, the reigning back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, will wrap up the draft with pick number 224. Tony Barr here, thanking you alongside Ryan Hertzu, Cassidy Collins, our producers, along with our director, Ryan Frankson, our writers, Paul Gazzola and Jamie Umbach, our social, Kate McPhail, and Daniel Warner, also one of our producers, putting in a lot of effort this weekend to making sure we have the best coverage for you here on EdmontonOilers.com and Oilers TV. Reminder, there's a lot of great written content on EdmontonOilers.com. Catch up on all the Oilers draft picks, a couple of really good features on our number 1 pick this weekend, Xavier Bourgault, along with Mike Smith re-signing earlier today with the official paperwork coming in, 2 years at 2.2 AAV. So head on over to EdmontonOilers.com to check out all the great work from Paul and Jamie. So the Oilers concluding their draft with the 212th pick, Max Wanner from the WHL, the Moose Jaw Warriors. He suited up in 17 games, accumulated 4 assists in the shortened WHL season. Let's recap the picks that were. So round number 3 today, Luca Munzenberger, German, captained the U20 Cologne team. Cologne, also the hometown of fellow German Leon Draisaitl, who did text Luca to congratulate him on the pick and joining the Oilers organization. Munzenberger is committed to the University of Vermont this upcoming season, so 21-22. I know there's a little confusion on Twitter on whether he was committed this season or next. It is this season. We got that confirmation from him. Was super excited and visibly excited to be joining the Oilers organization. The Oilers' 4th round pick, Jake Chason, selected at 116th overall, came into the combine, or sorry, I shouldn't say combine. Of course, there was no combine this year, but came into the draft weighing 165 pounds. Definitely a slighter frame, but he did say he did put on a few pounds of muscle as he continues to prioritize working on his power forward game and skating heading into next season. Matvei Petrov was selected with the 180th pick, 6'2", 181-pound winger, played in the MHL, so the Russian Junior League, put up 22 goals and 20 assists in 58 games. Also suited up for Russia at the U18s, put up 1 assist in 4 games. He was also the number 1 pick in the CHL import draft, the 2020 import draft, by the North Bay Battalion of the Ontario Hockey League. Scott Lachance was taken 186th overall, so the Oilers' 2nd 6th-round pick of the day. He's the son of Scott Lachance, drafted 30 years ago, so 1991, 4th overall, 819 games to his NHL resume. Shane is still 17 years old, so 6'4", 190 pounds. Another big frame seemed to be a common theme on this day for the Edmonton Oilers. Has 1 more year of high school hockey left, as he is a BU commit in 2022-2023, so the year following this upcoming season. And of course, as mentioned, the Oilers wrapping up their day with the 212th overall pick, Max Wanner from the Moose Jaw Warriors. We're going to be hearing from Oilers Director of Amateur Scouting, Tyler Wright, in just a few minutes' time, so stay tuned for that as we continue our coverage from the 2021 NHL Draft.
When you go into a draft without as many high picks as you want, do you kind of have to temper your expectations going in? And all things considered, how do you think the Oilers came out of these 2 days?
Yeah, I mean expectations, because you're at the mercy of, you know, who's picking in front of you, obviously. So, you mean you have guys, you know, pushed up the list that we're trying to target, and you know, we're kind of hoping that they slide for the most part. But you mean, I think every team gets really excited after their draft. You know, I think it's a pretty even keel. For us, we've got a lot of work to do, and you know, it's an exciting day for them and their families. And you know, every one of these picks that we made today is, you know, they kind of fit at some point in their game around the philosophy that we want the Edmonton Oilers to look in the next coming years.
So you said earlier when we were talking that when you have few amount of picks, you have to make them count. Does that mean that you philosophically playing it a little bit safer, or taking a higher risk, hoping that you can get one of these guys to pay off big time?
No, I don't think we're trying to play it safe. I mean, I think anytime you're trying to predict the future of an 18-year-old, 19-year-old young man's life, you know, I mean, there's no crystal ball out there to say exactly how it's going, right? I mean, we try to be as diligent as possible and do your due diligence behind the scenes, and you know, your background checks, and you're talking to people, and you're talking to coaches, you're talking to, you know, people that are surrounded by the player, and you try to gather as much information as you can and mix that in with, you know, the product that's on the ice, and the position that they play and how they play. And I liked what we did today, but I think every team says they like what we did today, and, time will tell.
Daniel Nugent-Bowman, The Athletic.
And Tyler, with your first pick today in the 3rd round, it seems like a pretty intriguing prospect there in Wetzenberger, and he was saying he compared himself to Darnell Nurse. Do you see any type of comparison there? What did you think of this player that you got there in the 3rd round?
Well, we were really excited. He was obviously a target for us. I think when, in last night when we moved back and we were able to get the 90th pick today, I think there was a little bit more hope, I would say, that he would be there. He's a big body guy. He played at the World Juniors here at Christmas time. He's in the University of Vermont right now, working out and training there. We talked at length, with the people at Vermont, and we're really excited. He's a big body guy that plays a heavy game, and now we got to develop him.
Do you feel like there's any added familiarity there with him being at Vermont and there's the Woodcroft connection? Of course, there's seemingly perhaps a Draisaitl connection there in Germany with the same program. He said he got a text from Leon just before we talked to him today. Was there any that kind of help or factor into anything there?
Yeah, for sure. I've known Todd, from his days back in scouting for the LA Kings, and have a relationship with him, and obviously has a relationship, his brother is the coach of our American Hockey League team, so he was very upfront and honest with us, and we appreciated that, and he was a big help through this process with the limited viewings that we could have outside of the World Juniors for the most part.
I guess lastly, for me anyway, is your next pick in Jake Jason. He didn't kind of similar maybe to Xavier for Bo last night, but he had even less runway there. Jason in the WHL with a shortened season. How much did viewings last season help, or how much did you rely on them when there was such a limited viewing space for him this season?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it was really important for Xavier, for that matter, being a late birthday and being in the league for 2 years. So we had watched him a tremendous amount before this year. So that was helpful. We were very familiar with Jake, going into this year. But they played 24 games or whatever in Regina. I think, we had a scout between myself and our Western guys at probably probably all 24 games that were there. So we covered it, really thoroughly, to say the least. So we were excited when he came. He's a big kid, 6'2", needs a lot of work in the gym. He's got to put on some strength and some muscle, but we liked the pick and where we got him.
Thank you.
Rob Tychkowski.
With some of the rankings are all over the map with the limited exposure, and then some leagues weren't playing at all. So when you're looking at somebody who you have ranked at a certain number, but some of the other agencies have them ranked a lot lower, does that give you pause and you have to kind of reevaluate, what do they know that we don't, or do you just stick to your guns and say, what, we're making this call based on what we think and what we know?
No, we work hard, really, really hard. We stick to our guns. We got a game plan. I think if you look at, Seattle came right out of the board today and completely kind of went off the board. That's good on them. They like the player, and I think that's just kind of the way that this draft went. That there's going to be certain areas that you probably know better, maybe that you feel a little bit more comfortable with, but. We had a game plan going in. We stuck with it. We had some targets. We hit a lot of them, and we're pretty excited with the final product today.
having said that, with some of the unknowns surrounding this year's draft, do you think the potential is maybe greater that there are going to be some hidden gems that fall through to the later rounds that, had they played a full season with full exposure, might have been projected a lot higher?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's going to be great value in this draft when we look back. There's always great value. You go back any draft and you see guys taken, anywhere from, I'll just say outside the top 3 rounds, in the fourth, third to 7. There's always guys that go on to have really good careers. So, every pick that we make, we're grinding it out to, fit into our philosophy on how we want the Oilers to look. We've got our depth charts. We've got our certain deficiencies throughout the organization that we're trying to fill. By making the pick, now they've got to become players, and we got to develop them and give them every resource possible. But this is the start of that.
Paul Gazzolo, Oilers TV.
Hey Tyler, I know you talked a little bit about Luka and Jake already, but I'm just trying to get a little bit more information on the last 3 picks of the draft. What can you say about Matt Bay, Shane, and Max?
Yeah, Petrov's big guy, 6'2", very good skill. I think he had 22 goals, 20 assists this year in the MHL over in Moscow in Russia, and 50-some games played at the under-18s this year. He's a skilled player that we liked. Weren't quite sure. Everybody says it if he was going to be there, but we were happy with it. LeChance, another, big forward, good bloodlines. Father played in the National Hockey League. He's got some NHL pedigree, obviously. 6'5", going to go to University of, Boston University. So have some time with him, but, good hands again, good hockey sense. Got to work on his skating, get his feet going a little bit. But, and then with our 7th round pick with Warner, another big 6'3" defenseman, right-handed guy, plays in Moose Jaw. Got injured in the bubble, came back, but another kid that just needs some mentoring and needs some direction. And now that we got them into the pool of prospects, it's our obligation to make sure we give them every resource to develop these players. That's what you have to do in this league now.
Hey, Tyler.
Any other questions, media? Thank you. If there are no more questions, this concludes today's media availability.
And there was Oilers Director of Amateur Scouting, Tyler Wright, with some comments on the 2021 draft class. So to Xavier Bourgeau, Luka Munzenberger, Jake Chason, Matvey Petrov, Shane LeChance, and Max Wanner, on behalf of Oil Country and Oilers TV, welcome to Edmonton and congratulations on getting drafted. So now with the 2021 NHL Draft concluded, the next marker on the schedule is this upcoming Wednesday when the free agency period begins. So I was trying to remember what day it was, July 28th, when the free agency period begins. Certainly a lot of eyes on general manager and president of hockey operations, Ken Holland, and seeing what he can do once free agency opens up. The Oilers did start this day 2 of the 2021 NHL Draft, by signing goaltender Mike Smith to a 2-year contract extension with an AAV of $2.2 million. Keep it locked in on Oilers TV and EdmontonOilers.com for all the latest draft content and the content leading up to free agency and certainly after it begins. For one final time this weekend, I'm Tony Barr signing off. Thank you for making us a part of your weekend. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday and the Sunday beforehand. Take care.